There are 6 social class levels governing modern civilization, and most people have no idea where they actually stand. They mislabel themselves based on income, lifestyle, or titles, never realizing that power doesn't care what label you use. But those who correctly identify their position gain leverage. The rest, they're quietly managed, manipulated, and moved like furniture. If you want clarity, start at the bottom. The first level is not poverty, it's erasure. It's the condition beneath statistics and below concern. The first level is the homeless, those so far outside the machine that even the system forgets to exploit them. The homeless are not just broke, they are structurally excluded. They do not participate in society. They orbit it, watched only for signs of threat. They hold no leverage, no job to lose, no credit to protect, no home to repossess. This makes them both dangerous and irrelevant in the eyes of power. They are a reminder that society has off-ramps, exits from which most never return. To be homeless is not only to lack a house, it is to lack a role. No place in the economy, no profile in the algorithm, no presence in the data unless counted for funding or optics. They become ghosts in a world that only values visibility when it can be monetized or monitored. And yet, here is the cruel paradox. The homeless are technically freer than most. No debts, no taxes, no performance reviews. But this freedom is poisoned. It is the freedom of being unwanted. The freedom of being so low on the hierarchy that no one needs to pretend to care. Most systems, corporate, legal, political, ignore them unless they become a nuisance. And if they do, the same society that abandoned them will criminalize their survival. Sleeping in public becomes loitering. Begging becomes harassment. The state reasserts order, not by helping them re-enter, but by reminding them that even freedom has a price, invisibility or punishment. This is the ultimate control mechanism. Make a group so excluded that they are both feared and blamed for their own condition. It keeps everyone else in check. The working poor see the homeless and feel fear. The middle class sees them and feels superiority. The elite see them and feel nothing. This strategic erasure is not accidental. It is useful. It divides those with little against those with nothing. And it ensures that the very bottom never rises, because even those one step above are too afraid to look down for long. The longer you remain in this level, the more your identity collapses into function. Eat, stay warm, avoid danger. The longer you are unseen, the more you begin to vanish even to yourself. This is why most never escape once they fall this far. It is not just about money. It is about being reabsorbed into a system that has decided it no longer needs you. And if no one needs you, no one protects you. There are no soft landings at the bottom, only concrete, cold metal, and the slow erasure of your name from anyone's memory. But power understands this level perfectly. It doesn't waste resources here. It uses this level as a warning, a consequence, a silence you can hear. It lets you know, if you fall too far, we won't catch you, we'll forget you, and no one will come looking. That's the promise at the bottom of the ladder. Not just suffering, but silence. Not just hunger, but irrelevance. The game begins when you realize the system is not broken. It was never built for everyone, and some were always meant to be excluded. But here's the question. If this is the floor, who's trapped just one level above, still inside the machine, still playing by the rules, but with no real way out? Most people believe the working poor are simply people who don't earn enough money. But money is only the surface. The truth is, the working poor are the most controlled class in society. They are not truly poor, they are strategically trapped. They are given just enough to survive, never enough to escape, and they are too visible to be erased, too necessary to be ignored, but too powerless to be feared. This is the second level of social class, and it is the one most people mistake for the bottom. The working poor are the foundation of modern economies. They build, clean, package, ship, serve, assist, stock, guard and repair. But here is the cruel joke. They are the most worked and the least rewarded. They are not measured by output, but by obedience. Their wages are fixed not by skill or effort, but by how easy it is to replace them. Systems of assistance are framed as help, but function as behavioral control. Show up, submit, say thank you, accept the illusion of progress. And if you question too loudly, you lose everything. Stability for this class is always one step from collapse. They live in a permanent state of managed instability. Rent eats half the paycheck. A medical bill eats the rest. A car repair is a crisis. A missed shift is disaster. This is not accidental. It is structural. If they had space to think, they might rebel. If they had time to rest, they might plan. If they had savings, they might leave. So instead they are kept in motion, always chasing, always hoping, always waiting for next month to be better than the last, never realizing the rules weren't written for their ascent, only their endurance. And still, society praises them. Hard-working, honest, salt of the earth. But it's a performance. Flattery is a leash. This class is told it's noble to struggle. That suffering builds character. That pride in labor replaces the need for power. And this conditioning works. They will defend the very system that drains them, attack those who question it, and believe that patience is virtue while their youth, health and ambition are slowly consumed. Loyalty is extracted, doubt is punished, and worst of all, dreams are used as bait. Always something better coming, just not now, just not for you. The working poor are the gears of a machine. They do not own and cannot slow. The few who escape do so by abandoning loyalty, by seeing that the system is not broken, it is functioning exactly as designed. Productivity does not guarantee elevation. Discipline does not guarantee respect. Hard work is not a ladder, it is a treadmill. The class survives because it does not realize the game has no finish line. That is the brilliance of this level. The prisoners build the prison, and they thank their captors for the keys they will never receive. But what happens when the gears begin to question their own movement? What happens when they stop believing that stability is success? What happens when they realize they are one small shift away from being discarded, and one brutal decision away from rising? The third level of social class is the blue-collar caste, a group praised in speeches but controlled in silence. These are the laborers, the technicians, the operators, the backbone of infrastructure. They build the cities, drive the supply chains, repair the machines, keep the lights on, but don't mistake functionality for power. Blue-collar workers are not respected, they are tolerated. They are not protected, they are placated. Their value lies in utility, not in voice. And the moment they demand more than function, they are reminded exactly where they stand. This class is the illusion of stability. They earn enough to avoid collapse, but never enough to escape dependence. Their jobs require skill, but the system ensures the skill remains common. Train just enough people to make them replaceable. Glorify the dignity of work, just enough to make them proud. But never offer them a real stake in what they build, because the moment they believe ownership is possible, the hierarchy begins to fracture. So they are praised for their grit, while quietly being rotated, automated or outsourced when they cost too much or speak too loudly. Blue-collar workers are most often men, raised with the promise that hard work equals honor, and they believe it until they don't, until they see that honor doesn't pay for medical bills, or protect pensions, or shield from layoffs. Then bitterness sets in, then suspicion grows. They begin to notice the executives who never sweat, the politicians who never visit, the policies written in boardrooms they'll never enter, and yet they remain, because the cost of moving is greater than the cost of staying, and so they tighten their belts, silence their rage, and convince themselves that pride is worth more than progress. But here lies the trap. They are not the poor, so they do not qualify for assistance. They are not elite, so they do not qualify for power. They are the forgotten middle of the pyramid, just visible enough to function, just invisible enough to control. If they strike, they're called ungrateful. If they unionize, they're called dangerous. If they demand more, they are told to be patient, always patient, as if time itself will elevate them, when in truth, time is used against them. Their bodies wear down, their options shrink, their dependence deepens, and the machine continues to spin. What keeps them here is the illusion of advancement, the promise that management awaits, that hard work will be noticed, that loyalty pays. And sometimes, someone is chosen, 1 out of 100, elevated just enough to confirm the myth. But the ladder is not scalable, it is symbolic, and those who climb it often become gatekeepers, protecting the very system that once ignored them. They are taught to fear falling back more than they are encouraged to pull others up, and so the class remains intact, self-regulated, self-disciplined, self-contained. This level is not maintained through poverty, but through purpose. Give a man a job, a uniform, a role, and he will tolerate anything to keep it, because without it, who is he? This is the question they cannot face. Identity becomes incarceration, and the longer they hold it, the harder it is to imagine life beyond it. But what happens when they begin to see that the uniform is not armor, it's a leash? What happens when they realize they are respected most, when they stay quiet, and replaced fastest when they start asking questions. The fourth level of social class is the political elite, not the rich, not the famous, but those who write the rules for both. These are the lawmakers, regulators, judges, ministers, secretaries, and bureaucrats who manage the machinery of control. They do not own the system, they operate it. They speak in the language of law, security, and stability. But their true dialect is discretion. Their job is not to lead. Their job is to maintain the illusion that leadership is being exercised. Power moves above them, but control passes through them. The political elite are not elected. Elections are theater. The real elite are selected by donors, by institutions, by networks of influence that stretch across agencies and continents. When one falls, another replaces them without interruption. The game continues because the game is bigger than the players. Their strength lies not in popularity, but in proximity to enforcement. They don't need your respect, they need your compliance. And they get it through laws you don't read, regulations you don't notice, and enforcement you can't escape. They are not the face of tyranny, they are its quiet architecture. What makes this class dangerous is not ambition, but insulation. They are surrounded by protocol, protected by process, armored by bureaucracy. They can ruin lives without fingerprints. They can redefine reality with policy, and they do so with absolute belief in their moral authority, because they think they are stabilizing society, not controlling it. They believe that the system needs them to function, that without their signatures, the machine would collapse. This delusion is what makes them useful to those above them, and dangerous to those below. You cannot bribe most of them, but you can promote them. You can offer access. You can grant the illusion of higher status, while using their hands to execute lower orders. The best political elites are those who think they are in charge, who believe that their committee seat, or judicial robe, or diplomatic title is the pinnacle. In truth, they are the firewall. Their function is containment. Their purpose is to manage outrage, to interpret crises, to shape public perception while shielding the oligarchs behind the curtain. They are trained not in power, but in procedure. They know how to speak without saying anything, how to delay without denying, how to shift responsibility without losing control. This is the art of bureaucratic mastery, and it creates a class of operators who are always moving, always speaking, always acting, but never bleeding. When the economy fails, it's the market's fault. When the people protest, it's a miscommunication. When policies backfire, it's the previous administration. Blame is always vaporized, accountability always deferred. But here is the truth, they never say aloud. The political elite are not untouchable, they are expendable. When public anger becomes uncontainable, they are sacrificed, scapegoated, investigated, removed with headlines, and replaced with ceremony. The system offers them status, not security. Power passes through them, but never stays. They are middle managers of empire, and like all middle managers, they are discarded the moment they threaten the illusion of order. So ask yourself this: if the political elite do not truly rule, then who tells them what to regulate, what to suppress, what to legalize, and what to ignore? The fifth level of social class is the oligarch. This is where ownership begins and visibility ends. Oligarchs do not appear on ballots, and they rarely appear in headlines, except when they choose to. They do not speak to the public. They speak to the architects of policy, the brokers of silence, the curators of reality. They do not obey laws, they underwrite them. They do not protest injustice. They design systems where injustice becomes profitable. This level is not about wealth. It is about leverage, ownership, the ability to pull strings without ever being seen holding them. Oligarchs are not entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs still play the game. Oligarchs own the game board. They do not sell products, they buy industries. They do not compete, they consolidate. Their goal is not innovation, it is monopoly. Control the infrastructure: water, food, medicine, communication, energy, credit. Anything people cannot live without, they acquire and bury in holding companies. Then they extract quietly, monthly, perpetually, not through theft, through terms of service, through fine print, through dependency disguised as convenience. They do not bribe, they fund. They do not manipulate markets, they become the market. When you wonder why every choice feels the same, every platform identical, every price coordinated, it's because the illusion of choice is profitable. Oligarchs do not want chaos, they want predictability. Stability ensures the faucet of profit never stops flowing, and if a disruption arises, political, cultural, economic, they do not panic. They pivot. They fund both sides. They hedge narratives. They wait. Because they can afford to. Because time itself becomes a weapon when you own the calendar. They are not guided by ideology, only by margins. They do not believe in freedom, fairness, or equity. They believe in scale. The larger the system, the more invisible the lever. The more distracted the public, the easier the consolidation. If people are fighting over language, identity, and morality, they are not looking at supply chains, licensing laws, and financial instruments. Oligarchs thrive in noise. Every headline is cover. Every crisis is clearance. While the public screams, they sign contracts. While politicians campaign, they sign acquisitions. While you sleep, they expand. And they are protected, not by armies, but by architecture. Legal shields, offshore accounts, tax loopholes, corporate structures so complex they become untraceable. You cannot storm their castles because they do not live in them. You cannot vote them out because you never voted them in. They are the authors of the scarcity you feel, the ceiling you hit, the anxiety you normalize, and still they remain unknown. That is their greatest advantage. Fame is for the puppet. Control is for the hand inside it. But even oligarchs serve something. Even they bow. Because above ownership, above wealth, above the invisible empire, there exists a force older than profit, deeper than policy, and stronger than law. A force not created by markets or protected by armies. A force that does not rise with trends or fall with revolutions. And those who wield it do not negotiate. The sixth and final level of social class is not a position. It is a lineage. It cannot be earned, elected, or acquired. It is inherited through blood, sealed by legacy, and sustained by myth. This is the level of royalty. Not kings and queens in crowns and carriages, but dynasties, whose names do not appear in Forbes, whose empires are not limited to nations. These are the myth makers, the story keepers, the families, who sit not on thrones but behind symbols, behind crests, behind centuries of embedded control. Their wealth is not just material, it is cultural, historical, civilizational. Royalty does not compete, it calibrates. It does not participate in systems, it defines their shape. It does not invest in companies, it appoints who may rise. And most importantly, it does not chase visibility. It commands reverence through absence. The less you see them, the more you feel their presence. They exist in the architecture of institutions, in the protocols of diplomacy, in the traditions that outlast revolutions. While oligarchs own assets, royalty owns time. They are not the face of power, they are the origin. This level is maintained through ritual, symbolism, and distance. Their strength is not in exposure, but in the stories others tell about them. They are woven into the curriculum, etched into buildings, hidden in the names of trusts, treaties, and temples. They do not need to dominate news cycles, they dominate the subconscious. And where most power is enforced through laws and contracts, theirs is maintained through reverence. To question them is to question the world itself. To defy them is to confront ghosts, legends, and the gravitational pull of tradition. They are insulated, not by bureaucracy, but by belief. Their authority is spiritual, aesthetic, civilizational. Even in republics, they persist in shadows, through old money, old alliances, old oaths. They are the source of legitimacy that modern leaders secretly seek. Presidents bow to them in silence. Corporations seek their favor. Armies protect their land without admitting whose flag they truly serve, because everyone below them, from oligarch to worker, still orbits something older, colder, and infinitely patient. Their power is recursive. Every generation is trained to preserve the mystery. Every marriage is strategic. Every child is a vessel, and their enemies are not defeated in public. They are erased from history. This level cannot be disrupted, only replaced. But even revolutionaries often become what they once destroyed, because royalty is not a family. It is a function, a role in the structure of human power that keeps returning under new names, new titles, new mythologies. Whenever society collapses, people search for symbols, and royalty survives by becoming the symbol you dare not touch. But now that you've seen all 6 levels, ask yourself, where are you really? What forces are shaping your decisions, your limits, your dreams, without your permission?